The superintendent in the Commerce City Schools, me, is no different than our custodian. If I see something and I walk by it, if I don't pick it up, then I'm not doing my job. I'm no better. I change toilet paper roll. I got the key right here. The toilet paper rolls. There it is right there. And if I don't serve my customers, and my customers are my students and my teachers, and if I don't serve them and I see something that needs to be fixed and I don't fix it myself or not willing to fix it myself, then how can I ask other people to do it?
Take a seat and let's dive into the education unknown. In the superintendent's chair with Dr. Anthony, where dreams unfold.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Superintendent's Chair, where we go beyond the title to hear the stories, decisions, and people behind public education. I'm your host, Dr. Anton Anthony. Today, we're taking a seat with Superintendent Kirk of Commerce City Schools. Commerce City Schools is a close-knit district serving approximately 1,954 students across 4 schools. The district has built a strong tradition of excellence reflected in an overall district score of 85.7, which is amazing, and a high school graduation rate exceeding 96%. But the numbers alone never tell the full story. Commerce City Schools describes its mission with 2 powerful words: expect excellence. The district is committed to preparing students not only for graduation, but for success beyond the classroom. The district is being led by an amazing leader, Superintendent Kirk, which we have today. Superintendent Kirk brings 26 years of experience in public education to the position. His career has included service as a special education teacher, coach, head football coach, athletic director, alternative school principal, district administrator, and high school principal before becoming superintendent of Commerce City Schools. And that's an amazing, amazing job, sir. Superintendent Kirk, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the Superintendent's Chair. I appreciate you for joining us, especially with this time of the year, which is the busiest time of year for a superintendent. So thank you so much.
Dr. Anthony, thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this work because, you know, a lot of people have no idea what this role really means, and the opportunity to share a little bit about my journey and what the great things going on in Commerce City Schools. I appreciate your leadership and the ability to come on your show.
I appreciate that. That was nice. Did you plan that?
Yes.
So this podcast really is just to enlighten the people in Georgia and all over the country of the role of a superintendent and just of your community. And so the first thing that I would like to ask is that you served in education from a classroom teacher to athletics and now the superintendent. So here's the first question. Take us back to the beginning. How did your journey in education start, and what ultimately prepared you to sit in the superintendent's chair?
So the first thing, I'm going to start backwards because nothing prepares you to sit in this chair.
Right.
So I'm going to start there. But going back, you know, you said a little bit of, you know, my background is special education. I love special education. I did not GACE into special education. I'm a certified EBD, SLD teacher. I did that for a long time and really and truly loved my kids. And while I was doing that, I knew what I wanted to do, Dr. Anthony, when I was 16 years old. I knew exactly. I've never wanted to do anything else other than to be in education, ever. So when I went to college, there was pretty focused on what I wanted to do. But I wanted to coach. I wanted to coach football. I wanted to coach kids, love coaching, love the aspect of it, and got the opportunity to go back to my alma mater first. Assistant football coach at Sprayberry High School. That was my alma mater in 1991.
Woo, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, my principal, she called me, and the principal that had me as a student called me and offered me a special education job to come back home and coach. And it was probably the training ground for today. 26, 27 years ago. And I did that for five really solid years. And then I had a wise coach tell me, that if you wanted to go above and beyond what you did at Sprayberry, because all the accomplishments and the things that I did at the high school as a student athlete and student are always going to be compared to your professional journey. Well, is this the same guy? And so he said, you probably need to go somewhere else. You're not losing your job, but you need to go somewhere else and reproduce what you're doing here and do it on your own without being who you were back in the 90s, right?
Wow. And
so I did that and started my head football coaching journey, started the teaching journey. Nothing changed. had a very successful coaching career as an assistant, a coordinator, and a head coach, and loved that role, loved it. But I'll tell you this, coaches are hard to be fired. And I know that.
Yeah.
You know, and so in 2012, I got fired as a head football coach, new superintendent, new principal, new athletic director. And as a superintendent, Dr. Anthony, you know exactly when that happens, you know change is coming. And I knew it was coming, and I understand it's a business. And so the pivotal part of my career that changed everything was in 2012 when I went to Centennial High School. I had just gotten fired, got offered a coaching job. I was going to be the graduation coach in Fulton County, large school system. And Kibby Crumley, my principal, came to me and she said, listen, you've been here for about 6 months. You have a lot of capability outside of coaching football. We want you to stop coaching football and be our dean of students and our athletic director.
Wow.
And so it took me back because I'm like, I'm a football coach. I'm not an athletic director. And that decision and her pouring into me of giving me roles and responsibilities that quite honestly, I'd never done. I was in charge of MTSS. I was in charge of, you know, the custodians. I was in charge of safety. I was in charge of the building plan itself, doing all the operational, organizational things that people take for granted. You know, the toilet's got to flush, the air conditioner's got to turn on, you know, the floor's got to be cleaned, the bugs got to be killed, all the things that people don't even realize is part of the job. And so she did that for me. And I served in Fulton County with her for 5 years and loved it. One of the best jobs I ever had. But then I got that itch, like we all do, and I had a decision to make: stay here or, you know, go to a bigger role. And there was an opportunity in Gainesville City Schools to be the district-wide athletic director. And so being in Gainesville City, obviously it's a statewide name recognition. Went up there for my time there with Dr. Wanda Creel. She brought me in, and great experience in Gainesville. The Red Elephants, what a tradition-rich community.
Were you there with Deshaun Watson, or who was there?
You know what?
Were you there with Deshaun Watson? Was he there?
I came in as Deshaun was leaving.
Okay.
And so the funny thing is, you say that. The funny thing is as he's getting drafted in the NFL, he came to Gainesville to do a photo shoot with Nike.
What?
It was the coolest thing ever. It was they had to do it at 5 a.m. And because obviously crowds and all that kind of stuff, and so they came at 5 a.m. Well, I'm like, I'm gonna bring my kids.
Absolutely.
And Deshaun was so humble and so nice. Took off his cleats that he did the commercial in, signed them for my son, and handed to him. This is a first-round draft pick in the NFL. My kids were like floored.
Wow.
So it was a really cool time there, you know. And once again, I mean, you know, it's a tradition-rich place. Well, then I get a phone call from Dr. Rob Brown, who currently serves as GSSA's legislative leader. And the funny thing is, I'm gonna reverse back a little bit. Dr. Brown and I were high school teammates at Sprayberry.
Wow.
And so
look at the relationship.
I know. And so Dr. Rob Brown calls me, and this is in November, and he said, hey, I want you to come up to Dahlonega to have lunch with me. I'm the superintendent at Lumpkin County Schools. And I'm like, I said, why? You know, just because, I mean, we've never worked together professionally. He's friends of mine. He said, I want to talk to you about a job. And I'm like, okay. So we go up, and that's the second cornerstone of my career. Is he said, hey, Billy, I want you to be our high school principal.
Wow.
I'm like, I've never been a high school principal before. I've never, you know, now in Gainesville, I served as the alternative school principal because our person left. So I served a bunch of hats.
Right.
But I'm like, Lumpkin County High School, 1,380 something students, 140 something employees. And he said, I believe you're the right guy for this job. Wow. And I'm like, okay. And so I trusted him, and we prayed about it with our, and everything fell into place. And I was announced as the principal in April of 2017 and took the job, obviously. And I believe that that was the transformational time in my career because I walked in the door. They had a less than 90% graduation rate. Test scores were, they were average to below average. Wasn't anything that just knocked your socks off. Athletics was really in the toilet. I mean, it just wasn't very good. So you have an ethos change that you had to bring, and some grit and some grind that place needed. And so in my time there, when I left, the day I left, Lumpkin County High School was number 2 in the state in graduation rate at 99.6. Our SAT, ACT scores were both top 5. Our EOC scores were number 1 in the RESA in English, social studies, and math and science, and number 3 in math. And every one of our high school athletic teams made the state playoffs.
Let me touch the screen a little bit. Maybe I can get some of that anointing.
Whatever. Yeah. Listen, that is a team approach. That is and I go back, Dr. Anthony, to my days as a head football coach. All I did was build a good team. I built a team. And
that was going to be one of my questions. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I built a team. I mean, it's you don't do this work by yourself. You know that.
Absolutely not.
And so I believe that the team we had around us. And so once again, 7 years in, Rob Brown brings me in his office and he said, "Hey, listen, man, I want you to go to GSSA's SPDP program." And I'm like, "Rob," I said, I don't know if I want to be a superintendent. I don't. He said, just trust me. And I said, okay. So I get in, and go through the program. Well, 3 months in, there's opportunities to be a superintendent. And I applied for multiple superintendent jobs. Well, crazy as it seems, I got interviews at everything I applied for. I was like, what? This is weird. Then I got calls back to do the second rounds. Wow. And this was with Sam King with GSBA. And then it was with Frank King with at the time, their search service, and Dr. Alan McCannon. And I'm like, wow. Well, by November, I had gotten a call from Commerce City Schools. I came and interviewed. They called me back for a second interview and offered me the job. And I'm like, God, I'm fixing to be a superintendent. Well, this is February. And so my wife and I both were committed to the job and committed to coming. And we're like, we're fixing to move. We bought a house. My boys had all gone to Lumpkin County High School. I handed my sons their diploma at Lumpkin County High School.
Oh, man, that is.
And but I got 2 younger ones too. I got a 16-year-old and 12-year-old. I got 4 boys. And we made the decision to move to Commerce. And this is a wonderful place, tradition rich, very proud community. The thing people doesn't know about Commerce is, we are a very small, in one of the fastest growing counties in the country. Jackson County is one of the fastest in the country. But we want to be small. We want to continue to be small. We want to continue to be special. We want to continue to be relevant. So I came here, and I'm going to tell you this, Dr. Anthony, I was the first superintendent to ever come from outside of Commerce to take this job. So a little bit of pressure.
That is difficulty right there.
I'm not from here. So how that works.
Let me say, wait, did they give you a 3-year contract or they did.
They did.
They were 1 year you like
if 1 year I probably wouldn't have done it. But when you walk into a community like this, I mean, you have to assimilate to them, not necessarily they assimilate to you.
Right.
And that was, I don't want to say that was hard, but it was, we had work to do here. When I took, and I'm going to say this, Dr. Anthony, we walked in the door, and I say we, my wife and I were a team. When we walked in the door, we were brought here for a reason. We were brought here. I believe God has a plan for me and our family, and also believe God has a plan for Commerce. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and they needed somebody see things from a different lens. And so in my time here, we've done a lot of work. And I think it's for the betterment of students. I think it's for the betterment of teachers in this community. That in a nutshell is is how I got here. And the crazy thing is, you're the last part of your question, you said, what prepared you? Everything along the way. Am I fully prepared? No, absolutely not. You're dealing with a $28-29 million budget. You have children's education to be concerned about. You have principals, you have teachers that you're their sole source of income, and you have to make sure that the funding is there to make sure they get paid. There's a lot of pressure to this job. And you and I were talking offline, in the last year, 4 superintendents have died. 4, 3 of heart attacks.
Yes, sir.
I told our board, and I shared this with you as well, this is the most dangerous job in education. I don't care what anybody tells you, because there is no off button. My phone's always available. You're a phone call away from a board member or a mad community member, or you're putting out a fire, or but it's, to me, it's rewarding. The most rewarding job in education. So you get both.
This is the reason why I wanted to interview superintendents, because the public does not know how stressful, how hard, how difficult this job is. It's rewarding. We see the kids graduate, we see them come back, we see them become teachers. It's rewarding, but it is stressful. And I don't think the public really knows this. So I'm so glad I got an opportunity just to talk to you. I hear God in you, and you letting your light shine everywhere that you went.
We try.
And the biggest thing is relationships. And I want aspiring leaders to understand that even in the classroom, the relationships and what you do matter. All the way back to your alma mater, you in the relationship with someone that you didn't even think that you guys will work together.
Never.
But years later, relationships matter. How you treat people matter, from the time you're in high school, from the time you are an adult, teaching, working, coaching. And it's all about relationships and letting that light. Man, you have answered 5 of my questions.
I'm sorry.
Listen, it's great. I love it. So moving on to the next one, because I want to talk more about commercial city schools. You have in your mission, expect excellence.
Yes, sir.
It's the district's identity. So what does excellent look like beyond a slogan, and how do you make it visible in classrooms, athletics, the arts, and daily operation?
First of all, I appreciate you asking that question, because when I came to Commerce, they had 5 different missions and visions.
Wow.
One for the district office, one for the high school, one for the elementary school, one for the primary school, one for the middle school. And it's nothing wrong with that the way it was done prior. I want to make sure I'm very clear when I say that. Different people do it different ways, right?
One vision, though. One vision.
And I came in and I'm like, I can't operate like that.
Yeah.
And so we came in and we met as a team, and I brought everybody in because, as I said, it's a team approach.
Right.
Principals, assistant principals, all stakeholders came in. We came up and I said, guys, I said, we have a job to do, and it needs to be under one mission, one vision for everybody. It doesn't need to be this school's going to do this or this. I said, everybody. So that was what was born out of that. And that's our mantra every day. And so what you ask, what does excellence look like? Mm-hmm. Well, you would think excellence looks like a graduation rate of 96+%. You would think excellence looks like a CCRPI score. You would think excellence looks like maybe a sports team being successful.
Right.
But what excellence really looks like is grass being cut, bathrooms being cleaned, bugs being killed, financial management being what it needs to be, bills getting paid, paint being constantly fixed. When things happen, I tell our custodians all the time, you'll hear sometimes complain that students are messy, and my response to that is job security.
Right.
And so I believe it's important. When I walked in the door in Commerce, one of the first things we did, Dr. Anthony, is I made a walk of all of our facilities, and they needed some attention. And I'm going to give you I'm going to codify it for you. 738 ceiling tiles were replaced within a month of me being in Commerce City Schools. And I'm going to tell you why. Walked into a classroom, black mold on, dripping, moldy. And think about this from a standpoint. We are 72.5% free and reduced lunch. All right. My children may go home to a potentially home that is not well kept, right?
Right.
But my mantra is that I tell our people all the time is this, is when they walk in our doors, we want to make sure that they know there's a different way. When you walk in a classroom and you see 4 ceiling tiles that have not been looked at in years, do you think learning is important in that classroom?
Yeah.
When you see bathrooms that are not maintained and things that just day-to-day operations. So our custodian team knows there's 3 things that I'm going to see every time I walk in the building. And I have a rule every day for me personally, every school, every day. Billy Kirk walks in every school every day. The floors better be perfect. The bathrooms better be cleaned, and there not better be a fingerprint on windows.
Wow.
And not one of those 3 things has anything to do with education of a student, other than the fact that when they walk in the door, my students know what it means to be clean.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many parents, how many students, teachers, a clean classroom, an environment that is free from debris, that when there is an issue, we handle it immediately. Like, we're not waiting. The superintendent in the Commerce City Schools, me, is no different than our custodian. If I see something and I walk by it, if I don't pick it up, then I'm not doing my job. I'm no better. I change toilet paper roll. I got the key right here.
That's
right
servant leadership, sir. That is
got the key to the toilet paper rolls. That's not a joke. There it is right there.
Yeah.
And if I don't serve my customers,
Absolutely.
and my customers are my students and my teachers, and if I don't serve them and I see something that needs to be fixed and I don't fix it myself, or not willing to fix it myself, then how can I ask other people to do it? And so that's where I believe we've made a lot of improvements. That expect excellence. It's not an academic slogan. It's not an athletic slogan. It's not an art slogan. It's a holistic slogan for our school system, that we're going to do everything first class. We're going to do everything well every day. And it's everything you do. It's you take a big box and you put everything with education in it. And here's what I believe is going to happen. When you expect excellence in everything, the standard's going to rise. And when the standard rises, anything below the line doesn't count. And we're going to hold that line to teachers. We're going to hold that line to students. We're going to hold that line to district office personnel. I have a saying I tell our district office people all the time. Every one of them have a job description, including myself. Every one of them have a list of responsibilities. The number one duty on every one of their lists is customer service. I said, your number one job in education is customer service. So what that looks like.
My pleasure.
Bingo. And I'm going to give you a funny story about that. When a principal calls and says, hey, I've got a sick kid, I really need to go take care of my kid. Our district office personnel go serve as the principal of those schools that day.
Yeah.
You know, when there's a teacher when we have a sub shortage, we go serve in classrooms.
Absolutely.
And you said my pleasure, and I appreciate you saying that, because I think you know exactly what I'm fixing to say.
Yes, sir.
My 4th child is named after Truett Cathy.
Wow.
Because I believe in the Chick-fil-A model of servant leadership.
Absolutely.
When you walk in the door, you can be mad, you can be angry, you can be having the worst day you've ever had. But when somebody looks at you and first of all welcomes you, then as soon as they serve you, it's my pleasure to serve you. And so when we're doing job descriptions, including the superintendent, myself, your number one job is customer service. Before you log into your computer, before you fill out a purchase order, before you teach a child, whatever you do, you're serving customers every single day. So the visibility, you ask, it's evident.
this is a segue. That's why we got to continue this, because it's a segue. Because if I see my superintendent walking around with the key to the toilet paper roll or picking up trash, it's going to make me want to do more than I'm doing.
Sure.
And so the next question, because I know this fits into the last question, and of building trust. How do you build trust with your board, principals, teachers, families, and the broader commerce community? And I already know the answer to this because you basically hit on it just by leading the way that you are. But I just wanted to come from you.
Sure. So I think the biggest thing is when you're coming to a place is you've got to show your willingness to do the work. You can't, I'm not and I probably get dinged for this. Rob Brown tells me all the time. My mentors tell me all the time. I don't delegate well. I just do it. I just do, and I know that seems simple, but I'm gonna give you an example. So we had a situation where we had a high school principal change this last school year. And, my board said, how are we going to finish the school year? And I said, I'm going to be the high school principal.
What?
They go, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to move my office to the high school. And I said, I'm going to serve as the high school principal and the superintendent for the last month and a half of school. And so I took my office and I simply moved the computer down to the high school office. I took the radio back. I took the keys back. And I did lunch duty, bus duty. I went in classroom observations, finished TEKs and leaks for everybody. And I think I'm maybe the only superintendent in the state that not only certified the diplomas, but then handed them out to the kids.
Wow.
It's a but you asked that question, how do you build trust?
That's it.
Well, the easy thing to do would be for me to delegate that to somebody else. Say, hey, I need you to go down and do X. Right. But that disrupts the work of our special ed director or our student services director or our HR director, because you got to be certified, obviously. And I've got 5 certified staff in my district office, and we're small. And I said, guys, I'll just do the work. I said, I did the high school principal's job for, almost 10 years. I said, absolutely, we'll be fine. And guess what? Kids loved it. Teachers were fine. Nobody, I actually enjoyed it because, to me, in this chair, goes back to your first question. The further you get away from kids, the further you lose the work.
You lose it. Yeah.
And so I go, the in school every day thing is important to me because it keeps me focused on the work. Yes. I enjoy, playing kickball with kids, or I enjoy sitting down and having lunch at the table with kids. I enjoy being in classrooms. I enjoy the interaction. Because sitting in this chair that I'm sitting in right now, I told our board when they hired me, do not bring me to Commerce if you want a desk jockey. Because I said, you're hiring the wrong guy. I said, I am all gas, no brakes.
No brakes.
I said, we are going to work, and it's going to be a lot of work to get done. But just please understand, I'm not going to be sitting by my computer waiting on an email or a phone call. Or I said, I got kids to serve and I got teachers to serve. And I believe that's what we've done. And what that does, it builds the trust because our principals know the superintendent has their back. Like, I'm not going to let a parent attack my principals. Absolutely. You know what I tell them? I said, give them my cell phone number. I'll be glad to talk to them. They're not going to like what I say, but it's
not going to change.
Yeah, but it's almost laughable sometimes when you get you and I both know. I mean, you get a mad, angry parent or a community member, and it's not confrontational. No. It's let's have a conversation. Here's my cell phone number. Call me. Let's talk about it. And very rarely will they take you up on it. People would rather just be mad. And that's okay too. But I'm gonna take something out real quick. And we'll go back to this because I got it sitting on my desk too.
You got everything on your desk. Keys, the energy bus.
All right. And so we have a rule in Commerce City Schools. We don't allow energy vampires into our organization. And that's straight from that book. And I read that 10, 15 years ago. We do a book study every year on this book because it says if you spend your time worried about what people think and the negativity, you're not going to make them happy ever. There's nothing they may have a heart problem that only Jesus can solve, right?
Come on.
And I can pray for them, and I can love on them, and I can care for them, and I can hug them. But you know what they need? They need Jesus Christ in their heart. And Billy ain't Jesus. That's not me.
You have a light. You're letting it shine. So hey, you might be the
mean? But here's the thing, Dr. Anthony. That mantra, some people don't like it.
Right.
Some people don't like that type of leadership, and it's not confrontational.
No,
it's direct.
Right.
We're just going to be honest. And I tell people this all the time as well, sir. Personnel is not personal. Everybody's not going to be okay staying in Commerce City schools. And I'm not mad at you. But this ain't going to work for you my way. And that's okay.
I love it. This has been the best conversation ever with a superintendent. So now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show. Is called our superintendent's rapid fire. Now, superintendent, this is a part of the show where we ask 5 questions and 5 quick answers. You are now in the chair. All right, rapid fire questions. You have 5 seconds to answer. So what do you prefer, Friday night football or quiet Saturday morning?
Easiest question you got today, Friday night football.
I think he's going to say Friday night football. Next question, beach or mountain?
Beach.
Beach, easy. One word to describe your district.
Proud.
Favorite sports team?
University of Georgia football.
Alabama man myself.
Favorite vacation. We've been to the beach, same place, same house, same everything for 26 years. Miramar Beach, Florida.
Wow, amazing. And that's what was one of the questions that I was going to ask you. What do you do to get away? Because superintendent's job can be hard and difficult. So you have to have something, a hobby or something, and spend time with your family. So knowing that you go to the beach each year is amazing. So please keep that up, because I don't want you to stress out, with the job.
And here's the thing, Dr. Anthony, you know this, is we have to take that time. And even though you know this as well as I do, you're going to do some work and you're going to see a phone call, you're going to get an email, you're going to get a text, but it's being away from the city or the county or the building that recharges you. I lived in Dahlonega literally yesterday. I drove to Dahlonega because I still have a home there my son lives in, and we have a small farm. It has nothing to do with cows, pigs, or chickens. I hunt deer. So I go sit in a tree stand. And I fish. That's literally my getaway. And when I do it, it's not schoolwork. So when I'm cutting grass or the field or putting out feed or whatever we're doing, it's not the work. So it's different.
Absolutely.
And so that gives me my balance back.
Well, before Superintendent Kirk, before you leave the superintendent's chair, the chair represents far more than a position. It represents responsibility, service, leadership, and trust a community places in those called to lead its schools. So one of my last questions, what is one decision that truly tested you as a leader, and what did that experience teach you?
So it's actually pretty easy. In 2000, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try to make this quick.
No.
In 2019, I had made some personnel decisions when I was a high school principal at Lumpkin County High School, and the board didn't like it. I did my job. Basically, I did my job. I don't ever regret doing my job, even if it's to my detriment from a leadership standpoint. So if I lost mine, it's what it is. It's still the right thing to do. Anyway, the board wanted to fire me. Superintendent bring me in. This is my friend. Rob Brown's been my friend for.
Yeah.
He said, listen, he goes, they want you gone. They're not happy with the decision, blah, 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 blah. I was on an island by myself.
Wow.
Well, what happened was, and I'd only been there a year and a half, the community went bananas. And I'd already submitted my resignation. The board had accepted my resignation. This is a year and a half in, because like I said, I made some personnel decisions that they didn't like. So about a month in, the superintendent calls me and said, hey, listen, I need you to come to my office. I'd already resigned. But here's the thing, though. I resigned, went to school the next day. I was at bus duty I just kept doing my job. I'm like, I'm like, when the time comes, the time comes. And so he said, the board wants you to rescind your resignation. I'm like, why? I said, and it's never happened. I've looked, it's probably never happened. I said, let me think about it if I want to stay here or not, because this not having the support, I can't do my job without the support. But it scared me to death that I'm going, I'm not sure I want to keep going down this road. I rescinded my resignation. They brought me back. And this was, like I said, a year and a half in. Well, 6 years later, I'm going to tell you what my mission was every single day. All right. Every day. And you asked, what's one decision? And it was to do the work. It was to no matter who, what, when, or where, if I do the work, then I don't have to prove the board wrong. I don't have to prove anybody wrong. I just do the work. Well, the results speak for themselves. Because I go back to the first question you asked me, Dr. Anthony, when you said, talk about your journey. Well, you look at the journey. When I left Lumpkin County High School,
99%.
number 2 high school in the entire state.
Yes.
In Dahlonega, Georgia, in every metric that you can measure.
Wow.
And it's not because of Billy Kirk. It's because I made a decision to not get mad, to not get negative, to follow my own advice, and not be an energy vampire and be positive in the face of just extreme adversity. And guess who won? Billy didn't win. My kids won.
The kids did. Absolutely.
My kids won. My kids, and I say my kids because I believe they're all mine. I got 1,954 of them in Commerce. But in Lumpkin, it was 1,380. They won. And so that's the decision, was to do the work, not get in the weeds of negativity, be a positive light in a dark world, and let people see that. And I don't know the verse, and so I'm going to be embarrassed that I don't know this. But it clearly says, do the work as if doing it for the Lord.
Yeah.
And so whether it's changing toilet paper rolls, whether it's picking up trash, whether it's doing a tentative budget, whether it's doing budget millage hearings, whether it's hiring, firing, I do the work like the good Lord was sitting right next to me. I have a bracelet on my wrist right here.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to read it to you.
Read it.
It says, lock eyes with Jesus. Wow. And you know what that means? I wear this every day. You know what that means? It means when Peter was looking at Jesus when he was walking on the water, guess what happened?
He stayed above water.
He stayed. The second he took his eyes off the prize, sinks. And I don't mean to get religious, and I certainly don't. Please do. But okay, but what I want you to know is that's me in a nutshell. Is there's more to me as a superintendent than I believe that we have a mission field every single day. And I don't necessarily witness to kids or witness to teachers or witness to leaders, but I hope by the work that they go, maybe he does it a little bit differently than the world would do it. And listen, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not going to apologize. I'm a hard man to work for because I have a standard that I will not look back on. But it doesn't take away from
locking eyes.
You have your eyes locked on Jesus Christ, then how can you go wrong? Because if I do lose my job, there's another one. If I do get in a bad place, in a situation, because I don't make the right decisions every time. I know I don't. I do the best that I can with the information that I have, but I try to lead well. And that's me in a nutshell, Dr. Anthony.
I have talked to a lot of people, and I know this is mission field, and I know this is God. Like, if I don't interview anyone else, talking to you and hearing and seeing your light was a blessing to me. So I pray millions of people watch this podcast and really are truly blessed from the work, and then become an example like you are in commerce and letting the light shine. There's no job that's too big for you, too small for you, that I'm actually listening to you. And I know it. I feel it. I feel the Holy Spirit just talking to you. So I appreciate you even taking the time with me. So the last question, because this went over and I've just enjoyed talking to you. So the last question that I want you to answer for me is just, what is one initiative or program or accomplishment happening in commerce that deserves more attention across Georgia that you would like to highlight?
So one of the things that we're doing is it's a holistic approach, is we're modernizing commerce. They haven't had new school buildings in 60 years at our elementary and primary. So we're currently building a state-of-the-art facility. I mean, we're going to open it in August of 27. It's been a pipe dream for commerce for decades. Awesome. And it's just such a cool thing to watch the people of commerce embrace the modernization, because the word change, guess what happens? People don't like that word. You know, I'm gonna go back, and I hate to keep doing this, but it's sitting right here because
who moved my cheese?
People don't like the word change.
No.
But what we try to do is we're modernizing our process procedures to and I'm gonna say this: when I took the job at Commerce, and it's no disrespect, I just saying what a fact. We still use pink, white, and canary forms to do everything. Wow. And so it's modernizing those processes to make it streamlined. And so that initiative that we're doing is the modernization. It is something that is happening globally. And we're putting ourselves on the map in the way that we're doing things. I've had other leaders come to Commerce and see how we're doing things, but it's that team approach. It's not just that one thing, because I can't say, okay, it's STEM or it's this academic piece, or it's the whole piece is being modernized right in front of you for the betterment of kids. Because as soon as I take I have to kill my flesh every single day, or guess what happens?
That's my sermon last week, sir.
There you go.
That was the sermon last week.
There you go. Or guess what's going to happen? Pride's going to seep in. And it's going to be that I've done something. Yeah. And so as soon as we take the I out of everything we do, all right, it's we, it's us, it's team, it's that whole mantra that it's not one person that does everything. And so when you kill that flesh and you kill that daily, I mean, it's a daily thing. I ask for 3 things every single day. Every single day, I ask for 3 things. 1, I ask for strength, and I want the strength of Samson. I want the courage of David, and I want the wisdom of Solomon. Yeah. And if I can do those 3 things every single day, because when I get up, I'm usually at the gym by a little after 5 in the morning. I get to work about 6:30, and I walk in my office. I'm by myself most of the time, and I ask God for those 3 things every single day. Because in this job, you need wisdom. Who's the wisest man to ever walk the planet of the earth? Solomon. Courage. Yes, David had courage in the face of adversity every single day. Absolutely. And the strongest man to ever exist was Samson. Yeah. And they all were flawed humans. Absolutely. All of them. All of them. And guess what? I'm a flawed man. Absolutely. We all are. But I asked for God's grace, because I said, I want to be David. I want to be a man after God's own heart. And I fail daily, sir. I do. But it's not going to be because of lack of trying. Man, this has truly blessed my soul. I'm so appreciative of you, sir. You don't even understand. So I don't want to end this, but I know your work is busy. I truly appreciate you and thank you so much for taking the time and the seat in the superintendent's chair. Thank you for sharing your journey and your leadership, your philosophy, your story of Commerce City Schools. It's clear that expect excellence is more than a district slogan. So it's a commitment to preparing students for graduation, life, and opportunity beyond the classroom. So to everyone watching it, listening, thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe and share this conversation as we continue highlighting the people, decisions, and leadership behind public education. I'm Dr. Anton Anthony, and we'll see you next time on the Superintendent's Chair.
Take a seat and let's dive into education unknown.